Joe Travers has been the official Vaultmeister for the Zappa Family Trust since 1995, holed up in the legendary utility muffin research kitchen, fastidiously restoring and cataloguing over 30 years worth of master recordings.
So Joe, you are really sort of the keeper of the Frank Zappa keys.
At this time.
Are you? When did your sort of passion and interest in Frank's music begin?
Well, I was exposed so early. I was 10 when I first heard Frank, but it wasn't until I started getting older that I could have grasped what was going on. I mean, I'm definitely a fan, but I'm also a fan who's a musician. So I went from, being so young and being, taken aback by the energy and the bad words and the comedy, and then learning to appreciate all the rest of what's in there. There's so many things going on. So I started very young, but I would say that, the better of a musician that I became, the more I started to understand, what was going on in the music of Frank.
The rhythmic patterns of Frank Zappa's music, it's always struck me as being challenging, complex, interesting, multi-layered. I mean, as a drummer, how do you approach recreating the rhythms that Frank originated?
Well, there's all those very specific rhythms that he uses. He loves polyrhythms, and he was a drummer. So, you can tell throughout his music that he just has a deep connection to rhythm and really loved it. So you can hear it all over the place. What I try to do is not only adhere to the intent of the rhythms that he was wanting to use in those songs, but also to try and grab the character of the different types of drummers that he used throughout his career. He had so many great drummers, and there are so many performances on those records that are just stellar. And when I go to play those things, I try to base everything I do from what is on those records, because those performances are so great.
So, Vaultmeistering,
Yeah.
Frank Zappa, blimey, Joe. I mean, he was so incredibly prolific, wasn't he? So there must have been material kind of spread out all over the place. How did you begin to get to grips with the sort of enormity of what this project represented?
Well, it's still enormous to me. I mean, when I first started the job, there were only a certain, there's so many different formats in the Vault. There's so many different audio formats and video formats in the Vault. And when I first started, I was limited because we didn't have all the types of machines to play all that stuff back. So there was only certain things that I could, get to and start to document. But as time has gone on, we've, Gail and the family have been able to get all the different types of machines that we need in order to digitally archive all of those tapes. And so now I'm starting to get a real sense of what's in there, and there's just so much. I mean, Frank really did try to tape everything all the time, I think a lot of people think that because of that there's all these shows in there, but some people don't realize that if Frank didn't like something, he would record over it. So it's not like every single show is in the Vault, There's definitely a lot of large chunks of audio throughout all the different tours. As far as every show being complete, that's a fantasy. My job is to document, preserve, and to help submit to Gail you know, all of the different possibilities that are in there.
But in terms of sort of subsequent now future releases, Joe, and stuff that you're pulling out of the archive, are you still discovering new stuff? I mean, is there a mine seam still to mine, as it were?
There's a lot of live performances there that are waiting to be heard. As far as new compositions, I would say that there's a lot of new compositions from the Synclavier time that, you know, not a ton, but there are more than there is new compositions from the older days. So there's not a ton of like new songs that people are like, you know, oh my God, where's all the unearthed gems of new songs that no one's ever heard before, you know? There's not a ton of that. But there are, you know, every concert was different, every performance was unique. And so in that respect, you know, there's so many wonderful, wonderful performances by all those different tours that are waiting, you know, to be heard.